Hello folks, welcome to a new batch of Hobby Nightmares. If you like what I do, the Patreon is down below. If you want to support me a little bit more, you can do down there. If you want to buy me a pint over the weekend or a coffee or anything like that, then that's the place to go if I've ever helped you out and to support the channel. Also, I will be doing a new batch of Q&A questions very soon, so if you want to get your questions into me, Patreon is the place to do it. It's right down below. Head on over there. The Discord link should also now be working quite well, so if you want to click that and head on over to the Discord, it's down there. And it's all free. You don't need to be in the Patreon to be on the Discord. Alright? Cool. Now, into our Hobby Nightmares, because there is a lot to get through today. Some of them are, I'm well informed, are very funny. So let's jump into them, shall we? Count Beaner says, Hi North, Count Beaner here, throwing together a short double bill during a quiet patch in work. I've been following your channel for about 3 weeks now, and your Hobby Nightmare videos have been keeping me sane over the days I work from home. Good lad. My first nightmare is from about 17 years ago. When I first started attending Veterans Night at my local Games Workshop. I use air quotes there because it's a little over an hour away from where I lived at the time, and where I still live today. I just started collecting Chaos Space Marines and was halfway through painting up a 1,000 Iron Warriors army, 1,000 points Iron Warriors army, based around the old £50 Battle Force box. When I were a lad, you got a £50 Battle Force, you remember those? Oh my god. I used to make the hour-long train journey every Thursday with my mate and have a game or two. Let's call him Ivan, why not? This particular week, we agreed on a 2v2. 2,000 points per side game against the guy I knew from school, Denny, and another lad, who'll recognise this story almost instantly, so let's call him Jimothy for a laugh. Denny and Jimothy were rocking Dark Angels and a custom Space Marine chapter. Across the table, Ivan was using a guard list and I was running my Iron Warriors. It was a very bloody fight, with the win going to Denny and Jimothy, when Denny's captain cut down my sorcerer and routed the Marine squad, leaving me with 2 possessed and an immobilised Rhino, or so I thought. Ivan only had a Basilisk and a squad of fleeing guardsmen left, so we decided to call the game there. It was only when we were packing up that I realised I was missing a squad of Khorne Berserkers. You see, the terrain we were playing on was almost the exact same colour as Games Workshop plastic, and after a few seconds of frantic searching, I spotted them. 8 of the most well-camouflaged Khorne Berserkers you ever did, or rather didn't, see, perched in a building within charge range of Denny's captain. We joked about it later at Burger King, and we've all been mates ever since. Moral of the story, if you don't have time to paint your models, at least bloody spray them. Yeah, well you got what you deserved, having grey models on a table. Cheeky bugger. Got what you deserved. It's one thing, I again, play at home with grey models, no problem, but don't come into my store playing with grey models. At least spray them. At least spray them. The very least. My second nightmare, or ask me to spray them. That's been done before. Somebody comes into Games Workshop, oh mate, I can't spray at home because, my mum will go mad. Alright, cool. I will known loss this. What paint do you want? I'll go and spray them. Then we'll let them dry, then you can play with them. Right? Just don't do unpainted models in stores, man. My second nightmare is more of a witness account than my own nightmare. Jimothy and I were big World War II buffs, and had just found out about bolt action, so we met up at our friendly local game store, which had recently opened near the Games Workshop where we frequented, to get a beginner game in using the starter set. While we were setting up, we noticed a couple setting up a game of War Machine up behind us. I'm going to say here that I quite enjoyed War Machine back when it was a big thing in the UK, but it was a bit too competitive for me. There's a lot of ways to hard counter specific lists, and this story is a prime example of why it ended up dying out. He was playing Kador, Magic Steampunk Imperial Russia kind of thing, and she was playing Menoth, Magic Steampunk Ottoman Empire kind of thing. I caught the odd word or two during their deployment up until the last model was placed. At this point, the bloke pipes up and says, "Your Warcaster gives all of your guys fire damage on the weapons, right? I'm running commandos, which have immunity to fire, so you can't hurt me." Then came a short rules argument, followed by what may be the first ever turn 0 deployment phase. It turns out that in War Machine, units have a base strength, which is buffed by the weapons that they use. If a weapon does elemental damage, such as fire, but the model they're attacking ignores that element, then the weapon does nothing, and the model has to rely on its base strength, which is usually not good enough to do enough damage to be useful. I never saw either of them in the shop again, so you can probably guess what happened next. That's all for now. I've got a few more to share further down the line though. Give us a shout if you want more. Yeah, please do send them in. That is a bad rule system. Again, I've never played War Machine, but it's from that one rule. That's a bad rule system, dude. You can't hurt me. Right, so we just wasted our time then. Did you know, when we started deploying, did you know that I couldn't hurt you with the models that I've got on my list? Yeah? Then you're a dickhead. You just wasted our time. You've literally or what, are you conceding defeat then? I suppose. Do you know what I mean? Those are the people you don't want to play with. Literally, man. Honestly. Those are the people you don't want to play with. I suppose, I guess. I guess you win. Hooray for you. Like, we've not rolled any fucking dice, but hooray for you. Yes, I forfeit. You win. Because I can't technically, hurt you with my models. Great. Dude, why do people like this exist? Why? What a waste of time. Absolute waste of time. Again, if he didn't know, fair enough. Like, if he just turned up and he then rereads the rules as they've set up and goes, oh, mate, you can't hurt me with your models. That's fine. And if they then proceed to, like, say, let's ignore that. You guys, you just hurt me like you'd normally hurt me. Or you agree to just play by different rules. Or you agree to call it there. That's fine, because you never realised. But if he knew, if he was standing there going, haha, I'm so going to get him here, and then goes, right, and I know most 40k players, most competitive 40k players would be that guy. I'm going to so get him here. By the way, you can't hurt me with any of models. So let's play the game. No, let's not, because it's a waste of time. Oh, you concede then? Oh, yes, go on then, Off you go, yes, you win, brilliant, moving on. Jesus Christ. Sorry, competitive 40k players, but I guess I've just been overexposed in my time working in the hobby to people like that. You're not all like that, alright? You're not all like that, but like, there are a lot of them out there who would literally sit there, watch you deploy, and then tell you can't actually play the game against them, and expect you to forfeit in a way that, makes it like he's some tactical genius. Fuck off, mate. Touch grass, get in the sea. Warboss Fit says, hi North, it's Warboss Fitz again, here with another Hobby Nightmare story where I was accidentally the bad guy. You have a lot of these, Warboss Fitz. You have a lot of these, my friend. Let me set the stage for you on this one, alrighty? Alrighty, you set the stage. Let's all get together around the fire, shall we? It's a decade ago, a time where the Forge World had just released their Mechanicum line, and there was no Adeptus Mechanicus army for 40k just yet. Oh my god, yeah, I remember there were days like that, yeah. Sorry, taking a sip of tea there. I'm just so used to, like, AdMech being around that, Anyway. I've been looking forward to the Mechanicus getting any model, I have been looking forward to the Mechanicus getting anything model-wise for years. Since in my day job, I would try and beat machines into submission, and when that didn't work, I would try and soothe their machine spirits. So I jumped in with both feet, dropped far too much money on a Forge World resin, and bought an entire 4,000 points of Mechanicum Tag Martyr, along with the leather-bound rulebooks for the Horus Heresy that had been released up until that point. Oh my god, you just beggared yourself. You must have no money left. It took a month for it to arrive. 1 second, let me take a quick sip of tea. My throat is sore. Alright, it took a month for it to arrive, and then I tore into the models with super glue and heat guns, epoxy and brass rod. A month later, I had a lovingly crafted army full of machines and mind-wiped battle servitors. Very nice. I had picked the cream colour as the base for my Forge World of choice, because it contrasted nicely with the Martian red bases I had made up for them, all built up with cork and little cogs made from gears that came from pocket watches. It was everything I ever wanted in an army. Now, of course, I had to find a game to play with them. I checked out my local area, and nobody had bought into the Horus Heresy yet, not even using plastic Marines as Heresy Marines. So, I went online and started searching for an event or something to use these beautiful models in. I found a 2,000 point Horus Heresy tournament that was 150 miles away, that was going to happen in 3 months. I immediately emailed the organizer and signed up. This was going to be great. Some of you guys have far more patience for like getting yourself out there than I do. That is a Chad move. Do you know what I mean? Like, see that tournament 150 miles away? I'm going to go to that. Jesus. With an army I've never played with before. Or so I thought. Okay. In the meantime, the organizer had discovered that he did not have enough sign-ups for a Heresy event. So in his wisdom, he changed it to a hybrid event where you can play with either a Heresy army or a 40k army. His thinking is that they both use the same rules at the time, and so it should be fine. I had sent a few emails back and forth to the organizer, and he never mentioned to me that he was just excited to see my cog boys on the field. Okay. So I got up at 5 AM on the day and drove 150 miles to get to the game store at 8 AM for check-in. When I walked in, I saw Marines, Eldar, Orcs, Imperial Guard, and Sisters. I set down my custom-built carrying case I had made for the Tagmata and asked the organizer what was up. Where is the Heresy event? That's when I was told of the change to make it more inclusive to the local players. He must have seen my eyes go wide and just said, "It'll be fine," and waved me off. I pulled my army out and got many compliments on it, and more than a few "what are those?" from other players. I started to explain that these things are Forge World Mechanicum and showed off all the weird and wonderful characters I had in my army. That's when I got my first "is that even legal?" question. I think it was at this point that I realised I was the only person who had brought a Heresy army. I explained that yeah, I was told this would work out by the tournament organizer, who did look over and give me a thumbs up as he was doing paperwork. I can see that why that would get grating, man. You're like, yeah, this was supposed to be our fucking event, our Horus Heresy event that you're now in, so yeah, it's legal. Do you know what I mean? So, game 1. I was matched against a Marine player. I can't remember what kind of Marine, but he charged straight up the field thinking close combat would be the end of my machine shenanigans. He killed some thralls I had out screening the important stuff, and then it was my turn. As I opened up with weird weapons he had never heard of before, and an entire squad of jetpack Ursaraks, armed with power fists, charged into a squad of Marines that had his chapter master in and chaplain in it, I do remember his exclamations of, "That can't be right." What do you mean I don't have an armor save? That's just cheating. Every time he had an outburst like that, I would pull out the leather-bound tome and show him the insane weapons and units the Mechanicum had in 30k. I don't remember the score, but I did take every Marine off the table on turn 3. He then spent the rest of the round time complaining to anyone that would listen to him. To be fair, I can see where he's coming from. This is the tournament organizer's fault, dude. I can see where he's coming from. If I played you in what I thought was going to be a 40k event, and you turn up with some uber Forge World bullshit, and it was back in the day, let's be honest, Forge World at the time you're talking about, 7th edition, right? Forge World, or even 6th edition, Forge World was way overpowered compared to anything you'd get in a normal Games Workshop, or anything you'd get in 40k. By design. Literally by design, it was overpowered, right? Because they want you to spend more and more and more money. I can see why you were pissed, and I can definitely see why he's annoyed. Absolutely. Game 2. I moved to the table, and my opponent was playing Eldar jet bikes. Well, this is good. This should be a good matchup, because they were well overpowered back in the day. As we set up, there were a few guys who turned around. Sorry. My throat again. as we set up, there were a few guys who turned around from other tables to look over and coach the Eldar player on what he had to do to beat me out of manoeuvring me and waiting until the end to grab objectives. The game started, and he hid everything behind some kind of cover shooting into my thralls, and killing quite a few. Use commas, mate! Sorry. I just... Every now and again, these Hobby Nightmares, I'm like, just use commas. So I can read it properly. Anyway. On my turn, I moved a squad of Vorax Automata forward and proceeded to fire so many shots from them that they removed an entire squad. Cover save be damned. I shot my lightning guns that rippled through the squads I could see, and lobbed sledge plasma into the bikes that I couldn't see behind cover. When he realised the amount of concentrated hate that those guns were packed with, he just conceded the game at the bottom of turn 1. Yeah, I can understand why he did that, yeah. He threw a fit at the organiser and made a scene in front of everybody in the store. Good! Good. This is the one time I will be on the side of the guy who threw a fit in the store. Because he's doing it at the right guy. He's going to the tournament organiser and saying, this is your fucking fault. Alright? If you don't have enough players for a Horus Heresy event, cancel the Horus Heresy event. And try and push more models so people get into Horus Heresy, right? But don't throw it all together lazily and expect it all just to go well on the day. It's not built for that. I had no idea what the local dynamics were, but from his reaction, I think he was the local that guy, and I had wrecked his army so hard, he had a bit of a psychotic break. Mate, I'm gonna say this, right? This wasn't your skill. Okay? This is Forge World, old school Forge World against old school 40k. You are not losing any game on this day. You are winning every game at the top of turn 2. Alright? If you get that far. If you haven't tabled them already, alright? This is not, you know, I beat him so hard. No. Fits, mate. That's not what this is. It isn't. Like, you've literally just... You're playing professional football against children, is what you're doing. Right? If you're playing football against a load of kids and you score 5 goals, in real-size goals, men-sized goals, and they're all like 5-year-olds, you don't go, oh, I beat them so hard. Oh. No, you're like, these are kids. That's exactly what you're doing. You're going into a 40k, 40k. That was the gulf in the rules back in the day. I know. I was working at Games Workshop during this time. That was the sheer gulf. And I was at GW on the back end of that gulf when Forge World started to just come down in power towards, you know, making a more balanced game of Horus Heresy. You know? Especially when 7th and 8th editions went their own separate ways, right? So Horus Heresy went one way, 8th edition went another. That was good as well. But I'm telling you now, dude. I'm telling you now, you've literally... Oh, no. This is not good. Let me put it in here that I wasn't winning these games because of my excellent tactical mind or stout dice rolling. Good for you, Fitz. Fitz, well done to you, mate. Well done. Yes, exactly right. Exactly right. The difference between a Heresy army and a 40k army... I swear to God, I've not read this before, guys, alright? The difference between a Heresy army and a 40k army at the time was so stark that a Heresy army would win 9 times out of 10 on the rules alone. The difference in lethality was night and day, especially with the Tag Matter army. It's made to fight Marines who are running around with their Primarchs on the board. He was shooting Shuriken Ninja Stars at me, and I was just shooting back with the Heart of Stars. It was like throwing haymakers at kindergartners. Mate, alright, I swear to you guys, I've not read this before. That was such good timing. Yeah, you're completely right. At this point, I knew the next game was going to be one-sided as well. The organiser just waved me off and said it was fine. Dude, this organiser's a fucking idiot. So I went out and got some food to wait it out until the 3rd round. I was thinking about dropping out, but when I got back, someone said with a smirk that my next opponent was ranked top 5 in America and there was no way I was going to be able to defeat him. I just shrugged and said, well, alright, we'll see. Round 3, my opponent is running Chaos Space Marines. It is that great spot in the meta where he used a Psyker to make his squad invisible, so I could only hit it on a 6, and another to give them some kind of invulnerable save. I knew how this was going to work out, so I asked the organiser if he could stick around at my table to watch the game. My opponent got the first turn and moved his Death Star unit into the middle, made them invisible, and gave them the invulnerable save. He looked smugly at me like this was going to be his grand strategy. 2 dice rolls that he thought would make him unstoppable. He took some shots with the other things and killed some Thralls off, but obviously most of the points in his army were tied up in that Death Star unit sitting in the open, in front of my army he had no knowledge about. I then opened up my book and handed it to the organiser. I had sticky notes under the rules for the army's weapons so we could read them, while I fired off 2 Thanatar Siege Automata into the invisible squad. I killed most in that first volley as the large AP3 blast templates came down. The blast template I laid down didn't care that the squad was invisible. Then the lightning cannons off the tanks fired off even more templates that arced death around the squad. After that, the massive number of smaller arms fire that the army could spit out were able to wipe up the rest of the squad, even with me needing to hit on sixes. My opponent was very upset and made multiple challenges to the organiser as my shooting phase went on. He had my book so read aloud the rules, so He had my book so read aloud the rules, so there was no question about what was happening. There was even an accusation that the leather-bound special edition army book couldn't be a real book, and that I must have made it myself in a garage to cheat at Warhammer. Oh my god. After my turn was over, I stuck my hand out and conceded the game to my opponent. He refused to shake it. Oh well, I had no plans on coming back. I told the organiser I was dropping out of the tournament, and I know his heart was in the right place, but it just didn't work for me. Mate, he's a moron. The tournament organiser is a moron. The only bad guy here is the tournament organiser. Okay? I can see everybody's point of view here. It's a very rare occasion where everybody in this story, I kind of get your point. Even the guys who are acting up, I kind of get it. I get it, you know? I'm on your side and I'm on their side. This guy was a fucking moron for organising it this way. I packed up my army and drove the 150 miles back home, and I have not been able to get a game of Heresy again, ever. Oh my god, I hope Maka isn't listening to this, it'll break his heart. Every local group I am part of likes the idea of Heresy, but doesn't want to go through the effort of making an army and playing Heresy. So the army has never moved with me across the country a few times, and keeps getting placed in progressively smaller and smaller storage boxes as I take units out and convert them to play in my 40k AdMech army. If I am unable to find a presentable model for you, I will send a picture. If I am able, to find a presentable model for you, I will send a picture along. I'm not sure what has survived these many years in storage without being chipped and broken. Thanks for reading out another one of my tabletop frustration nightmares. Warboss Fitz. Let's see. You did send me something. Okay. Well, it'd be rude of me not to. By the way, if you guys have pets, because that was quite a, shall we say, a big hit last time of seeing a dog. If you guys have pets, send them in. Do you know what I mean? Not the pets, images of the pets. Don't send me, your actual pets. That wouldn't go very well. Let's have a look-see here. Here we go. Wow, that's a zoomed-in picture. Wow. Dude. That's pretty epic. Look at that. Look at those. Look at little bugs. Dude, this is what AdMech should look like. Do you know what I mean? I hate how everything in 40k becomes standardized. You know, this is a Skitarii. These are, it's just like, okay. They don't look different, though. These guys look completely different from anything else in 40k. Really like them. And you shouldn't need to convert them to get them in 40k either. Just use them in 40k as something else. You know what I mean? Anyway. Bonk. Next hobby nightmare. Smerick says, Smerick? Or Smerak? Smerick. Hey North. This will be a quick one, but hopefully a funny one. At my local games workshop, we had a manager. Let's call him Dave. Why not? Keep the thing alive. Okay, keep the thing alive. So Dave was a drink the Kool-Aid kind of guy. He was all in on the Games Workshop rhetoric, and whilst being a nice lad, he fell back on his training to a fault. Standing there, hand in one pocket like some sort of cool dude, smiling with a smile that never reached his eyes, and never leaving his script. He would just ask you questions, again and again, never allowing himself to be taken into a normal hobby conversation. It's safe to say he had a bit of a reputation, and I went in there sparingly. Oh my god. If you are a Games Workshop manager, do not use what they teach you verbatim. You're not supposed to do that. Alright? Even other trainers who watch these videos will tell you not to do that. You're trained to fall back on stuff when you've got nothing else to say. Alright? If all you do as a Games Workshop manager is ask the 5 standard questions over and over and over again, and put your hand in your pocket and just, you know, try and be cool. Hey man, yeah, oh, it's going, dude, yeah, it's fine. Right? If that's all you can do, then you have nothing else to say. That means you're a bad Games Workshop manager. You have nothing else to say. Alright? Yeah, have your training there ready to go as a foundation to build the rest of your social skills in the hobby on. But don't use them as your skills. That's cringe. Anyway. This seems to happen with managers who are, you know, obsessed with pleasing the higher-ups. They tend to act this way for a long, long time. And some of them never really grow out of it, you know. Anyway. One day, somebody walks into the store that I recognise whilst I'm in there. It's Bill Bailey, comedian and star of Black Books. Okay, right, okay. Those of you who don't know who Bill Bailey is, just Google him. I'm sure you recognise him from somewhere. He is super chill and takes a photo with 1 or 2 of the customers as he walks around. This is around the time Black Books was bloody huge in the UK. Anyway, he is walking around and looking to get some orcs to play with his lad. Fair enough. Yeah, Bill Bailey plays orcs. I am not fucking surprised. Then comes Dave, who proceeds to treat him like he treats all of his customers. He treats him as NPC buyer number 1823. You could tell Bill was a bit taken aback. He could tell this guy was fake as shit the millisecond he stepped up to him with that fake smile and those gyrating hips with his hand in one pocket as he puts one foot on a stool. Have you ever seen a Games Workshop manager do that pose? Where like walks over, has one hand in his pocket, is like, hey dude, and he's like, you know, just like gesticulating around. Shit, that's so funny. That's so funny. I walk over to the other side of the store, unable to bear the cringe. I hear them talking, and David is doing his best to sell Bill on the new 40k starter set, despite Bill telling him he was there for orcs and that he already has all the rules ready. He then moved on to pushing Space Marines, and again, Bill said he was there for orcs, and proceeded to politely walk over to that section and ask him some questions about said orcs. This is about 5 minutes into their interaction, and you can tell Bill is finally starting to get a bit irritated when his questions are continually being ignored. As he looks over the orcs, he keeps getting inane questions back his way about his hobby. What he's into and what he's looking for. What he's looking for? Finally, he just snaps, and I quote, I told you, mate, orcs. Orky orcs. Green blokes. Not salamanders before you go there. Orcs. Big, muscled, fanged, cockney fucking orcs. Do you have a starter set for them about? No, says Dave, but I do have the Warhammer 40,000 box, which is a great place to... Alright, fuck it, I'll get him online, Bill says as he walks from the shop. That's so funny. That's sorry. It's just like, alright, fuck it. See you later. I just... Oh, mate. That was the last time we ever saw him. I believe he frequents the Tottenham Court Road store. Cheers, North, Smerick. That's hilarious. Like, they just, some celebrities have no time for that shit. You know, it's just like, no, I've got, 20 minutes. I've got 20 minutes to buy my son shit. If you're not going to help me, goodbye. I'm going, right? I'm leaving. Dude, that's so funny. Fuck it. I'll get it online. I'll see you later. Oh, my God. Oh, my God. That is cringe. That is absolutely cringe. By the way, there's nothing wrong as a Games Workshop manager with recognising whether when a celebrity comes into your store. Just say, hey, are you that guy? Alright, cool, man. What are you looking for? Some orcs. Alright, cool, they're over here. Let's have a look. Alright, what are you looking to get them for? You or... Oh, it's me lad. Oh, you're a lad. Okay, cool. Well, do you want a starter set? Well, that's this one here. That's a starter set. And then you got Gazgul there. Have you got Gazgul yet? Yeah, he's fucking amazing, isn't he? Yeah, cool. Right, dude, you sell so many models as being that kind of guy. Right? Just react to what people want. Don't try and sell them Space Marines all the fucking the fact that he says, not salamanders, shows you Bill Bailey knows the hobby, right? The fact that he said, I just told you, mate, orcs. Orky orcs. Green blokes. Not salamanders before you go there. I love it. Absolutely love it. Anyway, I love you all long time. I will speak to you either over the weekend or on Monday for some more Hobby Nightmares. Have a wonderful rest of your day, and I'll see you then. Have a good one. Bye now.